Guys, you are here. You were tuned in for the Profitable Painters Winter Work Formula. And we're going to talk about how you can make this your best winter ever. This is not platitudes. These are not guesses. I have been doing this over a decade. I've seen these strategies absolutely work. I'm going to give you a brief overview of what I'm going to be covering. Later on in the program, I'm going to hand it off to the capable Mr. Brandon Pierpont, and he's going to introduce himself here momentarily. So the things that I'm going to cover are making sure that you're clear on your goals for the winter, critical timing, pricing your services correctly for the winter months, managing crews wisely, closing leads profitably, tapping into your most reliable resources for winter work, operational marketing, and ramping up B2B efforts, and also targeting commercial work. And so I've got a lot to cover in a short period of time. We originally slated this thing for an hour and a half, so we may run a little bit over, but I'm going to try to be as concise as I can. And I would like to bring up here my good friend with the best name ever, Mr. Brandon Pierpont. Brandon, take it away, buddy.
You're not biased at all, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the name Brandon too. So, nice to meet you guys. Really excited to run this webinar with Brandon, founder of Painter Marketing Pros. Been heavily involved in marketing for painting contractors for half a decade, a little over half a decade. Been doing that, so not quite as long as Brandon, but in the space for a minute. And then heavily involved with the PCA, Painting Contractors Association, serving on a lot of their committees. We've Painter Marketing Pros actually has been a marketing agency for the PCA directly. I don't know of any other agencies that they've hired, so that's pretty neat. Best-selling author. I've written 2 books, one of which was #1 Amazon bestseller. Run a podcast called Painter Marketing Mastermind Podcast, and then proudly served in the Florida Army National Guard. Very excited for this webinar.
Awesome, buddy. Well, we're glad to have you here. So who's the little short guy? My name is Brandon Lewis. I grew up in Arab, Alabama. Dirt poor. My father, couldn't read or write. I had clubfoot, facial deformities. I often tell people, you can take the boy out of the trailer, but you can't take the trailer out of the boy. And so if I ever sound a little bit like a redneck, it is because I am. And friends make a big difference to me. Relationships are very important. If you look on this screen, I've just been so blessed my entire life with great friends and a wonderful legacy of 10 years of helping painting contractors achieve greater success. I am a Christian. That is a picture of me and my beautiful daughter being baptized. I think that's probably the most important thing you can do in your life as a father. Some of my fraternity brothers of all ages. And then, like many of you who want to realize the American dream, a picture of the house I built out in the woods. Most of you are striving toward some sort of goal in your life, in your career, painting. For some of you, it's getting a place that everyone can call home and staying there. For some of you, it's making a mark on your community, like what I do with the Tennessee Conservative News. But I show all this to you just to remind you that there's an end to this stuff, right? The reason we work so hard is for the people that we support and help and the relationships we build. And at the end of our lives, that's what we really value most. So if you would look at your painting company as an opportunity to make that stuff happen, that would be great. On the professional side, I've worked with 500 painters in 6 different countries over the last decade. And I built and sold my own large painting business and started in 2008 and sold it when the economy was still soft. So I've been through this stuff before and I have seen it done just about everywhere. So the first thing I'm going to get into, guys, is talking about properly staging for a profitable winter. Profitably staging. That means getting everything ready so that if and when you go get work, you find work in the winter, you can actually make something of it. So the first thing I would ask you very simply is, are you clear on your goals? Just being busy is a poor man's goal. You will hear painters say this all the time. Oh, I just want to be busy this winter. Well, that is a poor man's goal. If you ask most painters at the end of the day, you go to the paint store about 5:30, 4:30, ask the painters that show up bedraggled if they've been busy, and they'll say yes. But that does not mean that they are wealthy. It does not mean that their day-to-day life is where they want it to be. So it is very important when you set goals to really have specific goals. So here are some that I would like for y'all to keep in mind for the rest of this training. You want to have higher monthly income. For a lot of you, you spend, months and months building teams, and then you have to dip into savings. During the winter, you want profitable jobs. You want interior work. For many of you that are in climates that you simply can't paint in the winter. High crew productivity Most of you have noticed probably over the years that productivity goes down in the winter. High close rates. If you've got fewer estimates coming in, you've absolutely got to close more of them as a percentage. And then some predictability about what's going to happen this winter. So here's a key concept. I'm going to sprinkle these throughout this presentation. Desired outcomes dictate and prohibit certain methods and actions. I was on the phone the other day with a guy, and I looked at his business, and he's making about a third of what he should. And I talked about all the different business systems that we offer at the Painters Academy and how he's going to probably have to set aside about 4 hours a week to actually work on this stuff. And his big objection at the end of that call is that that sounded like a lot of work. Well, when you want to achieve a certain level of excellence, you have to do things differently. And once you set a goal of excellence, there are certain ways that you must do things, and there are certain things that you're doing presently that you have to abandon. And so to reach these goals, once you set a goal for yourself to be busy this winter, the action you probably can't take is to do it like you've done it every other winter. If you're not happy with the results, that's the only reason I can think of why y'all would be on this call. So let's talk about timing and time management. Most painting contractors that I work with, this is the very first thing I have to help them with. Every passing day, starting today, really starting months ago, every passing day, your marketing and sales efforts heading into the winter produce a diminished result. What do I mean by that? If you look at the curve of leads that come in nationally, and I've seen the numbers in national painting franchises, lead services, etc. Right now, we are on a downhill slide toward the lowest ebb of demand, which is December, January, and February. And so if you drag your feet on the stuff that I'm going to talk to you about today and you decide to do it 2 months from now, you will get a lower yield. So implementing this stuff as quickly as you can is important. If you want to be doing winter work, you don't need to go start looking for work in the winter, because there's this thing called a sales cycle. And there's a length to it, right? And you do not want the sales cycle. You don't want to start in December. And if y'all have probably been there before, you start in December and you start getting out there and actually hustling for a change. And then you close a bunch of work, and guess what? It doesn't start till March. Well, guess what? That's not helpful, because you're going to be busy in March. And then you must dedicate at least 4 hours a week to implement these strategies that I'm going to recommend. You've got to be able to master your calendar. The owner's time spent doing specific things that make huge differences in the business is the number one and initial catalyst for business improvement. It must be done. It cannot be ignored. It can't be shortcutted. It's got to be done. Here's another key concept about winter. I want you to keep in mind, winter simply reveals and magnifies existing company weaknesses. That's all winter does. If you take a little rickety boat out into an uncertain sea, it will sink, even if it had floated on calm seas its entire existence. And so winter comes along, and you think, well, my business is really good. It's just winter. I'm here to tell you that most high-functioning businesses, yes, they have a reduction in revenue in the winter, but they are not struggling. The owners are still making money. They're keeping almost all of their painters busy. And so if you have struggled in the winter months, like things are just absolutely terrible, what that tells me is it's likely that many of the things that you're doing in the other parts of the year are really the things that are making this come to fruition. So let's talk about pricing your winter work profitably. Another thing that I work with on folks, and this is so important during the winter, is making sure that you can accurately estimate your projects using production rates. Guessing does not work. Many of you are guessing numbers, trying to hold your crews accountable to a guess, trying to hold subcontractors accountable to a guess. You're paying people by the hour. You're charging by the square foot. You're trading yen and rubles, but you don't know what the exchange rate is. Production rates are the only way that painting franchises can take someone with zero painting experience and make them more accurate than somebody with decades of experience in 2 weeks or less, because it's all about measurement. It's predictable. It's been proven. It's been tested. And the other end of that is daily job costing. If you buy labor for a living wholesale and you sell it retail, you absolutely positively must know exactly how many labor hours are coming in, how many are going out, what people have paid for, what you have sold them for. You cannot avoid this. You cannot avoid this. So this is really important, that you try to hit this target of 50% gross profits. And that is, if a job is $10,000 in revenue, 5,000 of that should be left over for you before overhead, which means when you take away your labor, your materials, and your direct labor burden, that you've got 50% left over. If you're going into the winter, as many painters do when I look at their numbers, at 30, 25, 40% gross profits, it is going to be very difficult for you. Here's the next key concept. When there are less inputs, meaning there are fewer leads, there must be more management of the outputs. Think about it. If you knew that you and your family were going to have to make it over the next 3 months with 2 months worth of food, what would you do? Would you eat the exact same way you'd always eaten? Would you not take any inventory of what you had? Probably not. You'd be like, we've never had to go through this before. Let's take a look at what we've got in the pantry. Let's divide it up by days. Let's figure out what's here so that we can make sure that we can ration out enough to make it through 3 months. And so when you've got fewer jobs to process in the winter, it's critically important if you want to protect your income that you manage those in a different way. And here are the 4 fundamentals for managing crews wisely in the winter. Very important. Number 1 is you've got to have a written scope of work, and you've got to have tools that your crew leader can use to manage the job properly. And that includes giving them goals on labor budgets, material budgets. You absolutely have to do that. Further, you've got to pay them based on performance. I'm going to open up the screen just a little bit here. Wave your hand at the screen if you're just paying your people by the hour with no incentives whatsoever. Like they're just getting paid by the hour. That's a lot of hands. It's a problem because when you pay people by the hour exclusively, their profit motive and your profit motive have nothing to do with each other. Their profit motive it is really just how many hours can I mark. Your profit motive is there going to be enough money left over at the end of this project for me to make money off of it. So you've got to align your goals with the goals of the clients. It's very important. Second thing that I'm going to tell you about is that you have to make sure that you've got project management and scheduling that matters. And this is as simple as knowing how many labor hours you've sold, what your capacity is, having a project checklist that you can hand off to anyone in your company so that they can specifically do the projects the same way every time. And when you sit down and look at the paperwork or the digital file, you know exactly where the projects are. You can't hand something over to one of your staff members if you don't already have a system in place. And then finally, you need to be having weekly crew meetings during the winter. If you do not stay on top of your crews during the winter, they will cannibalize your work. They'll run through it or they'll drag their feet because they're worried where the next job is going to come from. You have to give your guys the scoreboard in the meetings. If you don't give them a scoreboard, how can they know if they're winning the game? And that is, you need to be talking about labor hour budgets, customer satisfaction scores, processes and procedures, and then make sure that the culture of your company is good and that they're not lying, cheating, stealing, and that they're all pulling in the same direction so that you can create this performance culture. And going back to performance pay, it's so important to do that in these meetings so that folks can see that when you are productive at this company, you're going to make a lot more money in the winter. And then those who aren't productive are going to have to sit at home until the spring because you can't have unproductive painters chewing through your work irresponsibly during the winter. It's unfair to you as the owner. It's unfair to the other painters. Here's another key concept. Stop looking for the easy button. There isn't one. A lot of you probably came on this webinar and you're like, gosh, I just need some little trick that's going to fix all this stuff. I need some little, can I swap a credit card and make this stuff all go away? And the answer is no. If there was something that you could do that was that easy, that's what I would be selling. I would not be trying to encourage and motivate painting contractors to change their behavior and their business practices because that's a heavy lift, right? But if you want to achieve exceptional income and results, you have to do what the average painter would never consider doing. So let's talk about your sales process, guys. I'm going to ask if this sounds familiar. I'm going to kind of describe for you quickly the typical sales process. You tell me if yours is similar. The phone rings, you're at the office, or maybe you're in the field or on a ladder or in the bathroom or whatever you happen to be doing. And you get on the phone with somebody and it's Mrs. Johnson. You go, yes, Miss Johnson, when do you need this done? And you decide Tuesday at 3 o'clock is a good day. You show up, you pet the dog, you talk about the bowling trophies on the wall and how long have you lived here and oh, those are beautiful flowers, etc. And then at some point that gets awkward, in which case you say, show me what you got. You walk around, you pull a number out of the air, right? Just kind of like a psychic or an astrologer. We just pull a number out of the air based on experience. And then we say, hey, Mrs. Johnson, I'm going to email you an estimate. I'll be in touch in a couple of days. You go back, you email a PDF. And then maybe you follow up a few times, and after about 2 weeks, you quit. That is a sales process that does not work. In this industry, you're selling something that is remarkably expensive. It's the cost of a middle-class divorce. It's the cost of cosmetic surgery. It's expensive. And you're selling it from an industry that has very low levels of trust, very low levels. 60, 70% of home service people that come out to even my home, and I screen better than most, will promise A and deliver A-level work. They're all going to promise A-level work, and most of them deliver like D plus, C plus work. And so when you show up with verbal promises in a PDF, they just don't believe you, not because you're not trustworthy, not because you're not honest, but because they have lived through the experience of being disappointed with so much consistency. They're nodding their head, but they're not believing what you're saying. And so you've got to do things differently. So how persuasive is your sales process? Is it just a pricing process, meaning your whole job there is just to give them a price? Well, that's not persuasion. And so you've got to think like the client. What are they worried? What are they thinking about? What have they lived through? And we have a PowerPoint presentation process in our program, but you could model it where we answer the phone a specific way. We send information about how the painter's processes and product knowledge are different in advance of arrival through multiple mediums. Gifting the client, having a photo identification lanyard, sitting them down for an overview and future pacing what's going to happen, asking questions on a written diagnostic, actually taking production rate measurements. Even if you are guessing still, guys, at least measure the room for looks. I mean, even if your tape measure doesn't have any numbers on it, just put it out there, right? Just to pretend like you're measuring something, because if somebody else does and you don't, it looks bad. Then we're going to leave them with a bunch of social proof, things that we know based upon experience and surveys that people that purchase professional painting services actually care about. Background checks, warranty certificates, guarantee certificates, tons of social proof, licenses, insurance, information about you as the owner, profiles of your crew leaders, pictures of the team. People want to know who's coming into their home. They've got teenage daughters, grandkids there. They've got, family heirlooms, maybe some money under the bed. They want to know, is somebody coming into my house during the winter to do this interior work that I can trust? And if you can't demonstrate to them that they can trust you, they likely won't. So you've got to have processes and proof, and you've got to follow up in a way that lasts through the sales cycle. Guys, when you've got fewer leads coming in the winter, you cannot continue to do this email a PDF pricing service system. You can't. It does not work. Every time I see somebody change from the email a PDF to the do it on the spot and do it the way I recommend, I kid you not, 15, 20 points. It's a big difference. And if you're going to, close what you've got during the winter, I mean, there's no point in doing all this marketing, especially what, Mr. Pierpont's going to talk about here later, and then have a crappy sales process that fails to convert them. Okay. You got to make sure that the fault's not on yours. Phase 2, guys. Now, what we have talked about up until this point are all the things you can do in your company to make sure that when you get a job or get a lead rather, or a job, that you can make the most money out of it, that you can keep the most money from every project, that if you get a lead, you can close it at the optimal price. It's very important, right? Your sales process controls your close rate, your average transaction size, and your maximum charge rate. It's a huge number. So let me ask you guys a question. Look at these doors here on the slide. Door number 1, you can put $10,000 in it, and you'll get a 20% return. Door number 2, you can put $10,000 in it, you'll get a 10% return. Or door number 3, you can put you get 5% return, you put 10K in it. You've only got $15,000 to invest. Where do you put your money? It's a very simple question. Where would you put your money? The answer is you put the first $10,000 in the 20% return, and you put the second $5,000, which is all you've got left, in the 10% return, and you put 0 in the 5% return. So when you are doing any type of marketing, in the winter. You have to ask yourself, who is the most responsive audience? Who can I get for the largest transaction size at the lowest cost of sale first? And then you must work your way backwards. Now, there is a point at which some of these methods that I'm going to recommend, like you will just run out of yield, right? Like there's no more yield in this list, but you've got to go pick that low-hanging fruit first. So the first one is tapping into the mind of past clients and unconverted estimates. I've been talking about this for a decade. It never gets old to me. I came from the publishing and the political world where the communication with the client list was the entire business. And here's a few things, just metrics for you to think about. The average American consumer right now is probably spending somewhere around $1,750 a year in repaint services. Repeat leads tend to close at about 65%. 60% versus net new leads, 25 to 32, depending on where you get the lead source and how good your sales process is. Further, the average transaction size for a repeat client is 60% larger than the first for a net new. It's huge. And the acquisition cost tends to be about 10 to 20% of net new acquisition. So you cannot possibly ignore the people who have paid your mortgage, your insurance, put food on the table for you the last 5, 10, 15, 20 years in your painting business and go chase stone cold strangers with your marketing dollars. You first must at least shore up your most sure investment, and that is the communication that you do. And there are two processes to do this in. One of them is client reactivation. And that's where you really ring the list for every lead possible in it. And for many of you who don't communicate with your clients or do a very poor job of it or just use email, it's reintroducing them to your business. You've got to reintroduce them to your business. And that's mail, email, phone, text, ringless voicemail. You've got to go after them because people forget who you are. Raise your hand if you're on this call. I love doing this. This is a parlor trick. Wave your hand at this call. If you're on this call, let me get you opened up here. Hold on a second. See if I can come to you. I want you to wave your hand at the screen, and I'm going to pick somebody if you've got a child that is 2 years old or younger. Suzanne, unmute yourself. I'm going to ask you a question.
Yes.
Do you remember the name of the nurse that delivered your child?
Yes.
What is it?
Carson.
Carson. Anybody
Yeah.
else got a kid that's 2 years, 3 years old?
I don't remember the
Anybody
other
else?
ones. That's the only one.
Don't remember this. She
delivered.
remembers one. She remembers one. Does anybody else got a kid that you can remember the name of the nurse? Anybody?
No.
I
No.
have a 5-month-old daughter, and I have no idea who the nurse was.
Yes. And occasionally people do. Chris?
Yeah, I delivered my child.
Okay, so you are the nurse. We had a home birth as well. Yeah, so I guess we had a midwife there. I wasn't there all by myself. And neither were you, Chris. You're there for emotional support. Then they said catch the baby, but that midwife, I bet, did a lot of work.
She did.
And so, the funny thing is, like when you don't remember, and most people don't, especially you get to be about 4 or 5 years, when you don't remember the name of the service provider that brought your firstborn into the world, we think that as painters, folks are going to remember. They do not remember. They just can't. And so then there's retention. That is newsletter marketing. And it is where every month you email and mail your entire client list. It costs very little money. It keeps everybody in touch with you. It's very powerful. And over time, you will watch your repeat and referral work go up from 16, 17% to 25% to 45%. We've got members that are running, $2-3 million businesses with repeat and referral rates in the 70s. 70% repeat referral business. Imagine having 70% of your tickets close at 60% larger and with very little marketing expense. It's just very powerful. So this is the first stop you've got to take as you go toward the winter. All right, key concept. You've got to build your business. I'd write this down. Some of you need to go to the tattoo parlor and have this put on your hind parts. This would really help you, I promise. You've got to build your business on the second transaction, meaning when you're doing your marketing, when you're servicing your clients, you say, you know what I'm building my business on? The second time I do work for this person. And then you need to build it on the first referral. When you build your business on that second transaction and the first referral, you don't do this one night stand marketing, this catch and release marketing that most people do. You're trying to build a relationship with people long term for them to recommend you like enthusiastically. This is not a one-night stand. This is a marriage, people. You've got to get in there with your clients. They've paid you every dollar in your business. You've got to retain them. All right. Best practices for operational marketing. Some of you are going to roll your eyes at this, but you're crazy. I ask these questions every time I do a business diagnostic. Do you leave a yard sign in the yard? You'd be surprised how many people say no. Do you knock 40 doors around and do door hangers? Maybe try to introduce you to people. People say no. What percentage of folks do you get a review from at the end of the job? 10%, 15%. You can get 60 and 70% if you do it on site and do it properly. And so when you do this type of stuff, and again, we have guys that are very large, $3-4 million, and they're monitoring their yard signs and their 40 door program, and it's like 15% of their overall revenue. Because if you just get a lead every other project from doing this, and if you close half of them, which is about how they close, you get half a job for every job you do. And that is what we call an operational tailwind. And so when you're already in a neighborhood, whether it be commercial or residential, you cannot afford to fail to let people know about it. And why should you put 3 yard signs up instead of 1? You'll get more leads. We've had members try this, right? You put it in the yard, put it at the entrance of the neighborhood, put it in the exit of the neighborhood. If you get X leads off of yard signs, and some of you know that you absolutely do because people call you, I call off yard signs. I use my stonemason was a yard sign down the road. My handyman that I've hired here at Signal Mountain was a sign down the road in a neighbor's yard. I buy from it. It's helpful, right? It shortens the search. It makes it easy for people. Well, if you get leads from 1 sign, you're going to get twice as many from 2. Best practices, guys. Here's a key concept. Executing every time you do a repetitive business task, meaning something you do over and over and over and over again, there is a best practice way to do it. And then there's a crappy way to do it, or there's a way not to do it at all. But when you do it using best practices, your daily life gets so much easier. Yes, there's sacrifice and pain putting that stuff in place and getting your guys to get in the habit of doing it or yourself, but you get these huge benefits and it's more profitable. So who doesn't want to make more money and have less stress? I mean, I guess not as many people as you would think because they continue to do things the same old way and then they wonder why they get the same result. Ramping up relationship marketing with B2B referrals. I've got just a couple more slides here. Guys, there are people out there right now, realtors, interior decorators, plumbers, roofers, cabinet installers, flooring installers. Most of you have somebody in that realm who are referring leads to you. But if I ask the average painter, like, do you have any kind of formalized process where you continuously communicate with these people and go see them maybe every once in a while in a systematic way? And the answer is almost always no. No, we don't. We don't do that. We don't have that. And so here's something to think about, guys. And really, this is a key takeaway. This is a rider downer. When something good happens in your business and you're not doing anything to really make it happen, the question you should ask yourself is, what can I do to make this happen more often? And what can I do to find more people to do this? I started an organization called the Chattanooga Trades Association in Chattanooga. Hundreds of thousands of dollars a year, back when we were charging $38 an hour per man hour. I mean, lots of money went in my back pocket off of just having trades folks. So here are some of the things you can do to make this work better. Number 1, run referral routes. Pick 10 people you want to see every week, every other week, whatever you can budget in time. Go get some donuts, go get something to eat, go get anything nice, and just go stop by the office. There are entire industries built off this: pharmaceutical sales, Snap-on tools, manufacturer sales reps. Yet as painters, we don't do it for commercial or residential. Surveys. If you make a little survey and you give it to your clients every time you do an estimate that says, do you need any of these services over the next 60 days? And you put cabinet installation, flooring installation, roofing, plumbing. Here's what I discovered. 70% of people filled that out and they checked 2.1 boxes on average, which means that if I saw 20 estimates, I had 28 leads times 2. I mean, we were passing out so many leads. You got to survey your guys because this stuff doesn't happen on accident. Go to these networking events. For some of you, you've got good BNIs and other things like that. And then wave your hand at the screen if you've got a big pile of business cards somewhere. It's this big pile. Yeah, I'm going to do something with it one day. I'm going to do something with it. You'd be better off burning it, most of you. But take that pile of business cards and freaking put them on a newsletter list, and they will get hit 24 times a year. 12 in the mail, 12 in the email, and they will call you because you're the only painter that has ever communicated with them their entire life. Do open field running, guys. Do what other people won't do, and you will get what other people won't get. But that consistency of communication is important because of this reason. Every estimate request you've ever received in your entire life has been preceded by one thing and one thing only: communication. Communication. It's a yard sign, it's a van sign, it's a referral, it's word of mouth, it's an online ad, whatever it is. And so the more communication you have going out to these high quality B2B referral people in person and at a distance and one to many, the more referrals you'll have coming in. And in winter, it is often far better to focus on relationship marketing than almost anything else, because you're slower, they're slower. And not only do you get work during the winter, when everything picks up in the spring, you've been working them for 3 or 4 months, and now they're coming after you hot and heavy. That's a good thing to have. Commercial repaints. I'm wrapping up here. You need to look online, Google, use the Google, right? And just type in commercial property managers with your city and state. There are meet the staff pages. Many of you are in great markets for this. Assisted living facility, private schools, plant managers. Go to an industrial park. I kid you not, if you just walk in the doors of these places and say, hey, what is the name of that guy? Oh, what's his face? Who does the maintenance around here? What is his? And they'll, oh, you mean Earl Smith? Yeah, Earl Smith. Is Earl in? Hold on a minute. 50% of the time, 30% of the time, they'll come see you at the receptionist desk because they're used to handling problems all day long and responding to them. They're firefighters by trade. And if you can't get them, at least now you got their name. Well, I got to email him something. What do you have his email address? Can you look it up in the? And I'm telling you, if you play dumb and show up at these places, and if you go visit 20 places, you'll end up with 12 names. And you do that 5 or 6 times, now you got a database of 15, 50, 60 people. You need to run the same campaigns that we talked about in reactivation. Come up with a cool offer. We have a free painter for a day offer in one of our campaigns. Another one is to do a financial audit and review and budgeting review, and they really care about that toward the end of the year, these big facilities. And then there are organizations in your area like BOMA, assisted living associations, private school associations. These people are getting together in groups, and you can go physically be in front of them month after month. You're crazy not to get involved in these, but it is a marriage. It is not a one-night stand, guys. So if you have any questions about this, you can reach me here, but I'm going to hand it over now to Mr. Brandon Pierpont. We talked about, before we move on, just to summarize, you've got to make money on every project. You got to make money on every project. It means you got to manage your time wisely. You've got to use production rates, job costing. You got to be on top of your crews with management mechanisms and systems that work. We got to close every job. And then we've got to go find the lowest hanging fruit, and that is past clients and unconverted leads, B2B referral, and commercial. That is the cocktail that comes at this. I'll close by saying this. There's not one way to find 10 leads every week in the winter in most cases, but there are 10 ways to find one. And what you've got to do is diversify your approach. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to make Brandon the host here, and he's going to take it away. Brandon, it's all yours.
Thank you so much, Brandon.
Awesome, man. I appreciate it. Tough act to follow as always. That was a ton of good advice. Brandon and I are very aligned on how we think about things, but we have a good variance in terms of subject matter. So I think you guys are in for a treat. Let me share my screen. All right, and then we will open it up to Q&A at the end. Also, so you guys will have that opportunity.
Q&A is my favorite part. I'm ready for the end. I'm ready for the end.
Right. Yeah, that's my favorite part too. My throat does a little better in that. All right. Oops, that's not one you guys are supposed to see, I don't think. It's not a webinar. If there's not a tech issue. Oh, please.
I can sing show tunes while we wait.
If you
I
want
can
to,
even,
man.
I can hum the theme of Bonanza. I've got all kinds of things I can do here to keep people occupied.
I'm not opposed. I'm not opposed. All right. You guys got this? Can you see my screen? Everybody just get a little sick. Okay, cool. All right. So diving in here, already introduced myself, a little bit about Painter Marketing Pros, just some stuff I'm proud of with the team. So we're certified Google partners, Facebook ads partners. We do have a relationship with Fresh Coat Painters, work with a lot of their franchisees. And then we have a partnership with Academy for Professional Painting Contractors with Brandon, because we believe in his program. He believes in ours. We are frequent contributors to In Paint Magazine, Ask a Pro section. And then I'm incredibly proud of the team that we were able to be awarded the 2024 PCA Industry Partner of the Year at this year's Expo. That was a really big deal. I'd say a highlight actually of the company, of the company's lifespan. That was a big deal. So what we'll cover, Brandon went through a phenomenal 9 subjects there. We got 10 to 15. I was kind of nagging him. I'm usually very chill. I'm usually like the guy who's too chill. And I kept asking Brandon, like, how many do you have? Are you numbering yours or not numbering yours? And he's like, dude, nobody cares. Relax. So he didn't number his and I numbered mine. So that's why it's weird, because I'm weird, but that's where we're at. So we got three paid ads strategies to dominate. So paid ads, I want to get into what's working and kind of simplify it in your mind, how to think about that. And then I want to tell you to reduce your reliance on it. And that doesn't mean don't use it. It means diversify. Right. So some of the stuff Brandon talked about, winning at Google Business Profile, special call out LSAs, local service ads, those little Google guaranteed ads. Those are a big deal. Feeling ambitious. This is fun. So the feeling ambitious, this is something that I have not talked about ever. So if you guys have heard me present in person or online or anything, this is something that I've been kind of hesitant to talk about just because very few painting companies are going to actually do it. But I want to put it out there now. And then additional marketing avenues, number 15, getting some cool stuff. So there are some challenges happening right now. I know that we're seeing it. We're definitely seeing it. I would imagine a lot of you are seeing it in the sense that the cost per lead is going up, and then people are they're taking longer. You know, Brandon preaches that people take a while to close. I think something like the average purchase take like 45 days, 60 days, 75 days. They take a lot longer than painters typically want them to take. They think that they should go out, provide the estimate. If they haven't closed that day, you know, it was a bust. Like, obviously that's not good thinking. That's being exacerbated now with all the uncertainty. And then to make matters, we'll say more interesting, we'll try to spin this positively. The average Meta spend in the US per month, Meta actually doesn't give this data, but the estimated average Meta spend per month is $3.5 billion in the US. Okay. And the projected political spend over a period of just a few months this year is $10 billion. So 3 months. So essentially what is happening is the spend on Meta is now doubling for 3 months. Meta is not, if you think about their business model, you don't log on to Facebook being like, I hope I see a ton of ads. That would be so cool. I want to see what ads I get. I want to see ads because I want to see that stuff, but very few people log on and want to see ads. So Meta can't just say, hey, we got twice as many people advertising, twice as much money. So we're just going to hammer ads. You know, people are just going to really just eat it because then they're going to lose their eyeballs, which is what they make money on. If you're not paying for a service, by the way, if you're not paying for a product, then you are the product. So you using Facebook, you're the product because you get marketed to. So Facebook's whole goal is they need to make it a desirable platform, keep you on it. And in order to do that, they need to not show way too many ads. So what that means is now you have more ads competing for the same eyeballs, because whether you're selling painting, whether you're selling e-commerce, you guys know that the cost of leads in ads goes up in the winter. And I think everybody thinks, oh, because the other painters are advertising. That has basically nothing to do with it. It's because you're competing with e-commerce and everything else. You're competing for the same eyeballs, the middle to upper class areas where you live, right? And now these political ads, they're competing for those people too, because they want the votes. So now you have more dollars being thrown at the same people meaning it's an uphill battle for you. So we have some numbers here, 10 billion political advertising. It's essentially double what the spend was in 2020, which is mind boggling, considering the election of 2020. And so they're estimating 2.8 billion for presidential election, 2.1 for Senate, and just on, but it adds up to 10 billion. And then September 15th through November 5th are going to be challenging. So we've already seen some challenge. I think the next month and a half, we're going to continue to see that challenge probably get exacerbated, which means you need to be doing the stuff that Brandon just talked about, right? You shouldn't stop the ads. I'm going to get into what you should actually do with that. But you should also leverage the resources, the lists that you already have, reach out to those past leads, reach out to those past customers, and don't screw up the leads that you get. Do it the right way. Respect the sales process. It's not order taking. You're not going out there, so many painters will go out there and want to take an order, and then they wonder, well, boy, that lead was no good because they didn't choose. They went with the lower guy. They just wanted price. Well, you didn't give them a reason to pay more money. So of course they're just going to go with price. So think about it that way. Longer buying cycles, persistently high inflation, interest rates. Thankfully, the Feds start to cut interest rates. We'll see what actually happens with that. Highly contested election, ongoing global turmoil. We all know just things are not phenomenal right now. Uncertainty about the future policies. And then all this is slowing buying cycle for large discretionary purchases such as house repaints. I think Brandon used the example of the same amount of cost generally as a middle-class divorce. It's an expensive discretionary purchase, right? People don't have to. If you live in an HOA or something, you might have to, but it's not the same as a plumbing purchase or a roofing. Your house, your roof is leaking. You kind of have to handle that. With painting, you don't. It's a want. It's not really a need. So when there's this uncertainty, when everyone's sort of, well, what's going to happen in November? How is that going to affect my pocketbook? It's harder to close them. Doesn't mean you can't, doesn't mean you won't, but they take a little longer. The money's there. It's just taking a little longer. So 3 paid ad strategies to dominate. I've talked about a lot of this stuff before, but I won't run through it because it's important. Number 1, select a cheaper platform, right? So we have Meta and we have Google. I am very pro Meta right now. Super pro Meta. Meta, well, number 1, let me say I hate both of them. So it sounds ironic from a digital marketer. I hate both of them. I hate the fact that they control the world, but that's the world that we live in. So I'm making the best with what I got. Meta over Google, pay-per-click 100%. Google local service ads over pay-per-click 100%. If you don't run a painting company that's doing probably multiple millions, then you shouldn't be running Google pay-per-click ads. It's not your friend. But you should be running Meta ads and treating them the right way, which we'll go into. And then you should be running Google local service ads. This will get you more at-bats for your ad spend because the cost per lead is going to be lower. So it's going to get you more at-bats. Don't be picky, be good. Right? The feedback, well, the lead just cared about price. The lead had a small project. It's a foot in the door. It's an opportunity for you to be good, to be better, to demonstrate a sales process, the ability to generate repeat business, referral business, to create a foothold in the neighborhood. It's your opportunity. It's your in. So number 2, generate more leads, make it personal, establish trust. People do business with people. Here are a couple of examples. I've shown them before, but they've worked really well. So just paid ad as example. I know Betsy, I believe, is on this call. I think you saw you there, Betsy. So her with the dog. That's I like that picture. This kind of stuff does really well. People like to do business with people. They don't like to do business with no-name companies. That's the whole idea why people market local business, right? Family owned and operated, because people care. Why would they care? Who cares, right? If they're going to come out and do a painting project, but people want to do business with people. So make sure your marketing reflects that. Offer incentives. I'm not a huge incentive guy. I've never promoted this up until very recently. We've always seen the 15% off is everyone's go-to. It's been that way for a long time. There's actually science behind that. But I don't like that. Right now, we're leaning a little bit more into the incentives, right? And picking it up with a stronger sales process, just because you do want to get the leads at a good cost per lead. So seasonal holiday discounts are good. If you can do value ads, I always prefer that over a discount. It's like a free pressure wash or whatever that might include versus 15% off. And then if you can make a holiday, so maybe it's a work anniversary, right? Like, hey, we're celebrating our three-year anniversary of XYZ painting company, something that's unique to you, it stands out more. Then you're not lost in the Black Friday sale and the same sales that everyone else is running. You have your own unique sale. You can kind of run it a little bit off market, off timing, and you'll stand out more and tend to do better. And then make sure that you leverage, this is just sales and marketing 101, leverage scarcity and time-based offers. People have to have a reason to act. People are naturally apathetic if they want to move forward with you, that's not enough for them to move forward with you. They have to really want to move forward with you. You have to kind of push them. And the way that you do that is through scarcity time-based offers. Okay, we have 15% off this month, right? Or free pressure wash or whatever if you schedule your estimate this month. Or 5 slots left for XYZ promotion. Give people a reason to take action today, not to think, oh, that looks pretty good. Yeah, I'll send myself an email, write down a note, and hopefully I'll come back to it, and I never will. Copy machine study. I like this study. I think it's just such a perfect illustration of how weird we are as humans. So it was a Harvard study in 1977. They went in and they wanted to cut somebody in line to make a copy, right? Sitting in there waiting Xerox. That was still a thing. And they said, version 1, excuse me, I have 5 pages. May I use the Xerox machine? That's what they said to try to butt in line. 60% of people let them skip the line. Version 2, excuse me, I have 5 pages. May I use the Xerox machine because I'm in a rush? Okay, that's a logical reason. I'm in a rush. 5 pages, not that many pages. I'm in a rush. 94%. You kind of have to, it's almost hard to say no to that, right? That's a real reason. Version 3, excuse me, I have 5 pages. May I use the Xerox machine because I have to make copies? That's not a real reason. That's a pretend reason. Are you using the Xerox machine because you need to get like a drink of water? Of course, you're using the Xerox machine to get copies because that's the only thing that Xerox machine is doing for people. But just using the word because gave people as much incentive to let you cut as a real reason. I'm in a rush. It would really help me. I don't have that much time. And all that is to say, when you create these holidays, it's your 3-year anniversary. It's Bob the estimator's birthday. It's whatever. Have a because and then a whatever. And it might seem kind of silly, but it's going to work as well as actually like a Black Friday or something that people accept as a normal reason. That's the lesson there. Understand who you're attracting. So when you run ads, let's go with the discount offer here is a really good example. When you run ads with a discount, you are naturally going to attract people who want a discount. But you say 15% off. This is why I've been opposed to them basically always, and I'll go back to that stance in like 2 months. This is why you attract those kinds of people, because it's the messaging, right? Your messaging attracts who's reading it and who actually moves forward with it. That's okay, as long as you understand that and you are good at selling, right? If you actually have a dialed in sales process, you go in, this person wants a deal. Great. I'm going to have a really good repeat and referral business product. I'm going to go in and I'm going to make this person an offer to introduce me to friends and family. And this person will get even more off their paint project because I know that's important to them, right? And I'm going to turn that one lead into more leads. That's fine. It's the game that I understand that I'm playing. But don't run a 15% off, go and be like, oh, that person cared about price. Of course they cared about price. That's how you brought them in. So understand the marketing and the sales, it's all tied together. And then holistic marketing works best. So very, very often people want to find this silver bullet. And with limited marketing budgets, which a lot of painting companies do have smaller marketing budgets. We have some colleagues running marketing for roofing companies, right? Plumbing, HVAC, things like that. It's not uncommon for them to have a $10,000 or more monthly budget. There's a lot more you can do with ads and things like that when you have it. If you're working with a $1,000, $2,000 a month budget, you need to be more limited, but you can still pick up the phone and call. You can text. You can pair with social posts. You can layer with a strong organic presence, and you can do offline things. So door hangers, direct mail, call text, email marketing with a specific group of people, right? A specific group of people. So for example, if you have a customer list, because you've been in business for X number of years, you can create an audience on Facebook. You can advertise directly to that customer list, and then you can cold call. It's not cold calling even because it's your customer list. You can call and reactivate that customer list. Now they're seeing your ad, you're calling them, and you can either do door hangers, you can send them mail, but you're now in their ecosystem in a variety of different ways. And there's something psychologically magical when you do that. When people see you here and there, they're much more prone to move forward than if they just see you in that one medium. So it's hyper-targeted, omnipresent marketing. You can do this with not past customers. Just, hey, these are neighborhoods that I really like. I want to grow my business in. So I'm going to market to them online. I'm going to market to them offline. I'm going to do door hangers. I'm going to do direct mail. I'm going to do all these things. And all of a sudden, you're just in their mind, right? You're just sitting there in their mind. You do that for an extended period of time. It absolutely 100% works. And then number 3, make leads more valuable. So speed to lead, always be fast on that lead. You must have a CRM of some kind because you should be in contact with that lead within 60 seconds. Whether they come through SEO, whether they come through a paid ad, however they get there, you need to be in touch with them immediately. If you're asleep, you still need to be in touch with them immediately. Provide a world-class experience, a standard like person not picking up the phone. What do you think that tells the homeowner? If you're not willing or able to pick up the phone when they want to inquire about giving you money, then how are you going to treat them when they want to inquire about you coming back and fixing something? It's a concern, right? You'd be even less incentivized to pick up the phone then. So that's the impression that is given by a lot of companies. Business hours, have your business hours be 24/7 and use a call center. People should always have the ability to get in touch with you. Make it easy. This is an example workflow we use. We use a CRM called Go High Level. This is for a new lead. It comes in, we're going to text, we're going to call. You can do a voicemail, ringless voicemail, as Brandon talked about, and then we're actually going to force an automated outbound call. So it's going to call you. It's going to be a little robot, prompt you to press 1, and then we're going to kind of force you to do your job. Give people a variety of different ways to move forward with you. So give them a self-book option. Some people want to text, they're comfortable with texting. Some people want you to call them or they want to call you. Some people, usually older people, would maybe be more comfortable with email. And then some people want to self-book. They don't want anyone on the phone. They're busy. They just want to find a slot. So ensure that in that messaging, you have the ability where they can just go ahead and get on your calendar, right? Don't worry about pre-qualifying. Like, well, I want to make sure they're qualified. You can call them after they book. Just get them on the calendar. And if qualification has been a big issue for you, you can qualify later. Have multiple communication channels to answer the phone. Stick it out. So 1 year follow-up. That's our drip, right? When we have the CRM, it will follow up for 1 year, not 1 week. I think if you guys kind of think about how often do you follow up, it's very rare for painting companies to follow up much more than maybe 2 weeks. And that's kind of crazy when you think about how long it usually takes a homeowner to make a major decision, which means a lot of homeowners are just sort of left with nobody. But I've gone through Thumbtack and Angie, and that's how you can see how a lot of these not all sophisticated contractors are working. There are some great contractors on those apps, but I get hammered. If I say I need something, I get hammered for like 2 days. And then it's just gone. Nobody cares about my money anymore. It doesn't matter. I still haven't done the project. If somebody just sent me a message like 4 days later, they would almost certainly get it because nobody else is around. So it's wild. Don't just keep running in circles. Make sure you have some system for automatically following up on those leads. And then give your proposals on site. You know, Brandon talked about like the mailing of the PDF. Obviously, it's not what you want to do. Give it on site, gives you the ability to objection handle. It's not being pushy. You're actually obligated. If you run a company that provides a good service, that takes care of your clients, doesn't screw them, you were obligated to do everything you can to get that homeowner to move forward with you. Because if you do not, odds are more likely than not that they're going to have a bad experience just based on the home services industry in general. So it's not being pushy. It's actually being negligent and harmful to your customer if you don't have a dialed in sales process. Now, if you run a company that is bad, you need to just fix that company, right? You need to figure out why that is the case and fix it. And position your service as an investment, not a cost. So right now, when money is on people's minds, when it's inflation, when it's, what's going to happen with the economic policies, you have to switch. They're already thinking about money more than usual. So now you need to really focus on how this is an investment, right? This is ultimately going to save the money. It's going to preserve. The home is the biggest investment, and this is going to allow them to preserve it. That dialogue, those words, they need to be in your sales messaging. That has to be discussed. It's the elephant in the room. You need to turn it to your side because it's being thought about whether you want it to be or not. All right, longer timeline to close. View your leads on a rolling 90-day basis. So again, same concept of following up. It's a lead came in, they didn't close in 2 days, therefore they weren't a good lead. View it on a rolling 90-day basis. So that means every month, at the end of the month, go back and see how those leads did, but then incorporate the leads from the previous 2 months. So you're just tracking these 3-month cycles on how it's doing. Now, if you're not reaching out, if there's absolutely nothing you do after a week or two, you might as well just look at it as the month, because you're not going to be closing those from 1 or 2 months ago because you're not doing anything. But if you're actively following up, if you have automations in place and then you pick up the phone and you're calling, every week, every 2 weeks, touching base, you're going to see a lot of those from 2 months, 3 months ago are going to close, especially because no one else is following up. You're the only one. And then follow up is critical. So longer buying cycles, lack of a yes does not mean a no. If they didn't tell you no, then you should be following up. If they didn't tell you no, if you haven't driven by their house and it was an exterior paint project and you see it's already done, if you don't definitively know that you lost that project, then you should be following up because it is still an active lead. It's an active lead until they tell you no. So have automations follow up for a year, do manual phone calls. It's very important to combine the manual and the automated, and then direct mail. Sending direct mail follow up, either before or after or both, is really good. And then finally, further monetization. So repeat business referrals, and then beginning reviews, right? The review is it becomes another sales asset for you, becomes another form of marketing. Get really good at getting those reviews. You get them before you ever leave the property. We have automations for following up. There's tactics for following up, but you should have gotten it before you ever left. When you're doing the punch list, then you get the review. Okay. Number 11, reduce reliance on paid ads. That was the longest one. That was a big one. So this is, let me back up. So reduce reliance on paid ads. So you should be running any form of marketing that's making you money. You should be doing it. You should know how much it costs you to perform a project. You should factor in things like the cost for your estimator. I personally am big on commission only pay. A lot of you may be conducting your own estimates. But if you're paying someone, I really like commission only pay. I don't know why you wouldn't do that. But factor all that stuff in. Even if you are doing only commission, you're going to pay for gas. There's going to be other things that you're going to factor it all in. And then make sure you're getting the ROI that you need to get. You need a job cost. You need to know your gross margin by project. And if it's working, do it. Do it and do as much of it as you can. And keep doing more things because you're making money. So it doesn't really make sense to stop unless you can't hire the labor. Or like Brandon showed that door example, if it's just, hey, we just don't have the people. We only have this amount of money. So we're going to pick the highest return on investment activities that we can do. But you want to diversify. You want to diversify because Google, Facebook, they have a nasty habit of changing their algorithms and they don't tell you that they're going to do it. So just go in, they change it, and then we're left kind of scrambling, figuring that out. That affects paid ads a lot faster than it affects SEO. Google had I don't think it was intentional. I think a junior developer was pushing out an update. They accidentally released their algorithm, I believe in March of this year. Accidentally, they've never released it. There are thousands of ranking factors. There's I think it's like 23,000, maybe 30,000 ranking factors, tons. It's a lot of ranking factors. About 10 to 20 actually move the needle. There's a lot of ranking factors, a lot of things that Google said don't matter. They said this is no longer relevant. Well, they were lying. See my previous point about I don't like Meta and Google very much. They were absolutely lying. But it doesn't change, right? So they're saying these things are evolving. They're not. The fundamentals are the same for search engine. Even when we see this, even when we see what's called search generative experience. If you run, I love this now. I absolutely, in the beginning, I didn't like it that much. I thought it was kind of weird. I love it. It gives me the answer to what I want a lot faster. So this example is how to hire a professional house painter. It is still in beta. So if you're not seeing it, or for certain searches, you're not seeing it, but Google is moving to AI, Bard. I mean, it's what's going to happen. But they will take this and then the traditional content marketing, which is what you should be doing with helpful blogs and good content on your site. They will essentially gather that information, compile it from trusted sites, give you the answer. So here's how to hire a professional house painter. They're going to give me what I want. What I don't actually want is to go click to a bunch of links, right? And then go to websites. And that's SEO, is to get me on your site because you wrote what checklist for hiring a professional house painter. And now I'm looking for a house painter. And I come on your site and I'm like, oh, that was a really good checklist. Maybe I should hire this company. This is doing the same thing, but you can see down here that this is where they're pulling it from. So there's a painting company here. There's a painting. These all look like painting companies. So they wrote articles that Google thought were good enough SEO wise to compile, and Google's essentially giving them credit. So now that I look through this, I might want to go deeper. I'm going to click on one of those. The point is SEO is not going away. It's not changing the interface, the dashboard is changing, but the fundamentals, they remain the same. Paid ads is not going away either, but it changes faster. So you have to be building the fundamentals with the organic SEO and the Google Business Profile SEO. Effective marketing is a marathon, not a sprint. You got to be thinking. Right now, we're talking about this winter, right? The stuff we're going to do, stuff we're giving you will help you this winter. But quite frankly, you should be thinking about next winter, right? It's middle of September. Right now, I would want you to actually think about next winter. Do this, but also be thinking about next winter. What does that look like for you? Winning at Google Business Profile. So number 12, Google Business Profile, fill it out, play the game, fully complete. They have product cards. Anytime Google gives you an opportunity to fill something out, whether it's their FAQ on their Google chat or whether they have the little product cards, you can productize your services and write about interior painting and call it a product. Play their game, fill it out as much as you can. This is tied to LSAs. It's very important. But in January of this year, they rolled out something I call the openness update, where definitively, if you mark your Google Business Profile as open 24/7, you will be prioritized in off hours. So if another company says 9 to 5, and then someone's on there searching at 7 because they're home from work and they're realizing they need to get their house painted, you're going to be more likely to show up. All the fundamentals of Google Business Profile local SEO are going to come into play. So someone close could still rank above you if they're doing a much better job, but it's a big factor. So market is 24/7. And if you don't have a call center, hire one. Just all you have to do is get someone to answer the phone off hours, and you can do that without getting in any trouble with Google. And then be sure to answer all that. It's tied to LSAs. I got a bonus coming for you guys at the end. Ongoing Google Business Profile optimizations. So this is a lot of stuff we do. Some of it's a little bit beyond the scope of this. But what you want to do is you want to fill out the full profile. You want to post to it at least once a week. So put up a post. It can be a picture of your crew. It can be a picture of a project. It can just be really any kind of message. And then generate reviews. That's massive. And then respond to your reviews. Good, bad, indifferent. Respond to your reviews as quickly as you can, because Google and people want to see that responsiveness. This goes, I think this is a video. No, it's okay. All right. Number 13, Google local service ads. This is the future of Google. So we saw search generative experience, the dashboard, the interface of Google's SEO is changing. Google is very heavily moving their development and their product roadmap and clearly their focus into LSAs, into that Google guaranteed with the check mark. It's absolutely the future. In the marketing world, we know that. So that means if you're not running Google local service ads, you need to be doing it. It's not an option. And if you say, well, those leads are too small, I don't like them, I don't care. Because if you don't run them, you're going to get left behind. So LSA is being pushed by Google. Google also, it's a little bit like a drug dealer. They kind of gave it, you could dispute it and basically win all your disputes. You didn't like the lead wasn't a real lead. Okay, Google will give you your money back, no problem. Google's taking that back. They're automating, and they're going to decide whether or not to give you the money back. So you're going to get the money back less frequently is what that means, because Google's going to want to keep the money. And then not only that, right now you're paying per lead still. So it's someone on Google searching for a house painter. Maybe it's $50. That's awesome. A $50 Google lead is awesome. It's showing up at the top of the search results. That will not last. Google hasn't said this. It's my prediction. I feel very confident in it. That will not last. It will eventually move, I believe, to a pay-per-click model similar to Google Ads. And then you're, rather than looking at a $50 lead, maybe a $150 lead, maybe a $250 lead. So I would go in, I would start building up dominance there right now as quickly as you can, because it is the future. Brand name searches, so people searching for XYZ painting company, that didn't used to show up on local service ads. If you search for painter near me, that would show up. But XYZ painting company, they wouldn't do it. Now they're doing it. So there's all kinds of signals that Google wants to push this more and more and more, because it's going to become a money-making machine for them. How to win here. This is tied to your Google Business Profile. So back to that being strong, important for organic. That's the baseline for your local service ad account. It's tied to your Google Business Profile. So treat that well, optimize it, be as strong as you can there, generate reviews consistently, and it's going to give you a head start in your LSA. Post weekly, upload photos weekly, generate reviews consistently through the actual LSA. So if you get a lead through LSA, then get the review through LSA, right? You can actually do that, and you can still request a review through your Google Business Profile, but get it on the LSA. Answer leads. So we run LSA for all of our partners, and I get BCC'd on the emails. So I get a god awful amount of these emails every Monday being like, hey, here's your LSA update for the past week. And I browse through them, right? Because I just get like a ton, they fill up my inbox. So I start looking at them, and it's usually 2, 5, some will be 0, some will be like 8. And a large percentage of those are unanswered. Like the vast majority of them are unanswered. So install the app on your phone, make sure you answer it. If you don't answer it, call back through the app, because again, that's how you play this game. Google has put a check mark. They said, you're Google guaranteed. We approve of this company. If people are trying to get in touch with you and you don't pick up the phone and you don't call them back, Google's not going to keep saying we approve of this company. So you have to think about it from Google's eyes. And if you see the missed call and you say, well, it's okay, I'll call them back from my work line, then Google doesn't know you called them back. So you have to call them back through the app. So Google says, okay, like, good job. We know that you got in touch with that lead. You didn't leave them high and dry when we gave you a thumbs up, because that makes us look bad. Again, Google wants LSAs to work. They want people to adopt it. They're not going to adopt it if they keep calling and companies don't answer the phone. All right, good. So feeling ambitious, and I'll kind of expedite this because I know we're running over, but feeling ambitious. So this is next level stuff. This is next level stuff. We're going to start rolling out. Had a conversation with one of our top partners about this. Videos are the future. So videos are the future of SEO. I know Brandon's doing YouTube, Walking with Brandon. How many of you guys have seen the Walking with Brandon thing? I assume a lot of you guys have seen. I like those. So Walking with Brandon, this stuff is the future. So Google, when you conduct searches, you've probably seen YouTube links or show up. More and more YouTube links are showing up on that first page. Google owns YouTube, so they're the same company. But more and more of those YouTube links are showing up on the first page. What you can do with videos, you can actually create it, you host it on YouTube, and then you embed it into your site. And so you almost get a double boost, because it's more likely to rank that page on your site, but the video on its own can rank as a YouTube. So you have kind of like 2 bites at the apple there with video, and people just love video. They resonate with it. They respond to it. They trust you more. And again, it's all about creating that market of one. So when you show up, you and Chuck in a Truck, well, they haven't seen Chuck in a Truck. They've seen you. So leverage in paid ads, but also in SEO. Paid ads works really well. YouTube search results are increasing. Video is the future here. And it makes you the authority. So it makes people know, like, and trust you. You become a market of one. A lot of our partners aren't that comfortable on video. That's okay. If you're not that comfortable on video, maybe your estimator is, right? Doesn't necessarily need to be you as the owner. It can be someone else representing your company who can be doing this. But video, if you can adopt that, it will help. Now, here's the really fun part, and the part that I talked with our partner about. So you can create, this is what a funnel looks like. And so this is, now we start to get into more strict marketing. This is what a funnel looks like. So rather than running an ad, which is what the 99.99% of painting companies do, it's what we do for our partners, because this is next level stuff, where we'll run the ad and we'll say, hey, we have an offer, get 15% offer. Hey, looking for a house painter near you. That's the offer ad. That's the bottom here, right? So you're like, hey, I just met you. Let's get married. Do you want to get married? You cool if you give me like $8,000? That's what that ad is. It works because that's the only thing the industry runs. But to the next level is you create videos, you create educational and entertaining videos for impressions, right? So an example of what I do with this is the Painter Marketing Mastermind podcast. Released like 140 episodes or something. I've been doing it for like 3 years. People follow me, they listen. There's no real call to action. There's no salesy push. There's nothing. And then they'll come in, and who are they going to partner with, right? When they've been listening, they've been following this actionable advice for like 2 years. They were a small company. They grew. Now they're at almost 1 million. Like, Brandon, man, it's time. I've been listening. I've never talked with them, but they've heard me for 2 years, right? That's what you guys can be doing in your space. So you create an educational or entertaining video talking about different things, like a Walking with Brandon would be a good example of how he's adopting that. You run it. You create a small ad budget, because when you run ads for impressions, there's different types of ads you can run. Impressions is the cheapest. So you run it for impressions, and there's no call to action. There's no nothing. There's no book a call. There's no set an estimate. There's nothing. But what Facebook's doing is it's actually tracking how much of the video people watch. And so then you take, okay, people watch over 50% of the video. And I'm giving away the farm here, guys. Like, this is, if you take this and you use it, it's awesome. So then people watch over 50% of the video. And then you run another video, and you're only targeting that people. So it's retargeting. So now you have an audience that Facebook knows, because you can do all this in the back end. And you're now retargeting them with something a little bit more salesy. Now it's testimonials, it's story brand videos, something a little bit more about your company. They're getting to know you better. You track who watches that, and now you come at them with an offer. And your cost per lead goes way down. Your close rate goes way up. But this is a multi-step funnel. It takes time. It takes some investment on the front end, and it takes the willingness to do video and really go outside the comfort zone. So this is the next level stuff I wanted to drop because some of you might want to actually think about doing something like this. And then additional marketing avenues. So grassroots sponsorships, things like little leagues, churches, local events, your local farmers market, whatever. Sponsoring that stuff is really good because Google likes to see industry and location specific backlinks. Google knows that's a local thing, that you're getting a link from it. It's going to help you. There's certain ways to research it, go online and actually figure out if that link is worth anything, figure out if you'll actually get a link when you do the sponsorship. But when you get those links, that's going to help your SEO. And then you pair it with, let's say, a banner on the fence with a little league, or you're in the bulletin for the church, or there's something else that's going to trickle in some leads. It won't be a massive influx of leads, but it's going to trickle in some leads. And it's all about creating this online, offline ecosystem where you're getting more and more leads and just growing your overall presence. So this is excellent for your SEO. Create multiple of these more fishing lines, and you add a bunch of little things like this over and over and over again. And all of a sudden your winter months start to look a whole lot better. And you're not as reliant on the paid ads and the cost per lead going up. And then texting and calling people. So I went to I'm a big fan of Alex Ramosi. I talk about, I feel like nobody really knows who I'm talking about when I say that. He's very big in the marketing world, not as big in the painting world, but he's written a couple books, $100 million offers, $100 million leads. He runs a podcast, runs a private equity firm. And I met him in person. It was like meeting a hero. It was a big deal to me. Talked with him for 10 minutes, like 3 weeks ago. And he talked about like texting people, right? And I met a couple people who are actually, they run tree companies. So tree service companies. I met a couple guys there and they're doing pretty big things, and they're growing their business through texting. So texting is often overlooked. It's neglected. You can still do it. There's more rules around it with 10DLC. You need to actually make sure people have a check, actually opt into text messaging and things that you can do it. But there are rules around it that you need to abide by, but it is a phenomenal outside the box way of marketing. But you also have to know a little bit about what you're doing. I have a little hint here, building an accidental space. That's something one of the tree guys showed me. He had like a opt here, click here to opt out, and he purposely kind of messed it up. He put it like a space in it, in between a word, like opt out, like O space PT, and it makes it look like someone just typed it. It looked like the person screwed it up. Machines don't screw up like that. And his deliverability went way higher. So again, I'm probably going too far with this, but I'm giving you guys some stuff that's above and beyond what I typically do. And then calling people. So picking up the phone, calling people, just say, well, I don't want to cold call. If they're your client, if you've done business with them, if you were in their house 3 years ago, if they were a lead and you reached out and you talked to them before, it's not cold calling. That's not what the definition of cold calling is. So pick up the phone, call people, because that works. Bonuses. So that was again, I was kind of being OCD about the numbers. So that was 10 to 15. Then I got some bonuses. Be aggressive with your marketing. Be contrarian. A lot of most successful people have made the majority of their wealth in downturns. So be contrarian. When there's a downturn or there's winter, it's your opportunity to recruit labor. If you've ever, I can't find enough painters, I can't find enough work. If you're the company that when they're getting laid off by other companies, you pull them in and say, hey, I got work for you. Who do you think they're going to be loyal to? Right? So if you're wanting to make big gains, recruit labor, keep that labor, and take market share, right? Take market share, go out and market aggressively when other companies aren't. And now all of a sudden you can dominate certain neighborhoods. If you have a roadmap for where you want to expand geographically in your area, account for cash flow. Don't go bankrupt, right? So you do need to account for cash flow. You have to actually sit down, know your numbers, do the math, and make sure that you're making a smart bet on this stuff. Sell as an investment, not a cost. We talked about that. You need to pitch this as an investment. They are thinking about the money. I promise you that. And then reinstate lost Google business profile reviews. A lot of you, I know I have probably noticed your reviews are disappearing. It's insane. Google's just wiping them off the face of the earth. I think we had like 45 or something 5-star reviews at Painter Marketing Pros. We went down to 15, maybe. I went through this process and now we went to 40. Now they're starting to take them off again. So now we're at 37. So it's their algorithm is going out of control with the spam. I do have a method. It was going to be a lot to include here. There's a lot of steps. There's a video tutorial. It's a whole thing, but this is my offer to you guys. So if you book a strategy session here, You're going to get the strategy session. So we're going to meet with you and actually talk about what you should be doing this winter. We're going to give you that full Google Business Profile review reinstatement cheat sheet and video training, which if you lost a lot of reviews, that would be a good thing to have. And then we're going to do this for you for free. We're going to create a custom QR happiness card template for your painting company. So something you can hand out to generate those reviews at the end of your projects and be sure you're getting at least 1 out of 3 projects giving you a 5-star review. Brandon, that's what I got, man. I think you're on mute.
I think that was great. Good. Everybody well, you can't, I would say give them a round of applause, but we couldn't hear you
Go
because
for
you're
it,
all
man.
muted. All right. I see some folks clapping. Hey guys, I'm going to go ahead and just go. And so we can take questions here. And there are 2 ways that we can take questions. Now, listen, some of you got to go places. That's fine. I'll hang out here as long as people have questions because I've got nothing better to do. So if you've got a question, there are 2 ways we can do this. Either A, you click the little show your hand button, which is probably more effective. But for those of you who don't know how to do that, can't figure it out, if you will wave your hand at the screen, and if I see it, if it's violently waved, I will come to you. Pete, I see that's not violent enough, but at least I could see you. Pete, go ahead.
All right. Yeah, I had a question on responding to Google reviews. And like, is there a time limit to do that? Because I have a few that I didn't respond to, but they're like, 9 months, a year ago.
No.
Is there such a thing as
There's
too late?
there's not a time limit to respond to Google reviews. No, if you have any, so what we'll do when we have a painting company come on board, we'll actually go back and any reviews they haven't responded to for the past 12 months, we'll respond to it. So you should definitely always respond to it.
Okay.
And there's no time limit on that.
Another quick question is it better to have a Google service area or a location? I mean, we're a service business, so
If you're, it's better to have a physical office and a location. Much better for your SEO.
Much better.
Very few companies do that, in which case you need to list it as a service area because people are not coming to your house.
thank you.
Good questions, Pete. Other questions, either click the raise your hand button or wave your hand crazily at the screen. All right, Maurice, we're coming to you. That's from, some people call me a space cowboy, for those of you that
Yes.
aren't that old. Go ahead, Maurice.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Yeah, so I heard him mention that it's really important, actually critical, to respond back through Google through the app. But lately, I would say like in the past month, they've had some type of glitch on their app where the leads aren't coming through, and I keep calling. They keep telling me I have to go to the the desktop version and just get the number and call the lead back. But I mean, I thought they'd have it fixed by now, but the issue has been going on for quite a while now.
Yeah, if you're facing the issue, other people are facing the issue as well. So just do it if you can. If you can't, then obviously you just want that lead. If you can't go through the app, Google does not care about you. I wouldn't even worry about calling them, man. It'll get resolved when it gets resolved.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, we got Logan. Logan, if you'll unmute yourself, go ahead, sir.
Perfect. I appreciate it. So my question for you guys is when doing cold reach outs to say larger commercial work like commercial property managers, etc. Do you guys have a favorite practice that you'd like to do? I know it's just doing the things that other painting contractors don't want to do, but is there anything specific for tips you guys might have for us?
Okay, I'll take this one. I'm actually going to do an entire workshop. We've created, I don't know, probably close to a dozen commercial repaint acquisition programs over the last decade. It's something we focus on intensely. So the first thing, like I mentioned, you got to make a list, right? You got to make a list. The victory goes to the people that show up. And when you show up in an office, when you call them, email them, you just hang in there with them, it works. I kid you not. You could take a cocktail napkin and put on a Sharpie, we need some commercial painting work, Logan, and your phone number. Copy that thing on a copier. And if you mailed it to enough people, you would get a phone call. Because people have very low expectations for painting contractors. Should you do it like that? Of course not. So here are a few things that I think are good introductory moves. I'm going to give away some things that we do. We have this campaign called a foot in the door campaign. And what we do is we buy these large foam foots and we put the company name on them. And then we put a box together and it's got socks and toenail polish and everything they would have to do with feet. It's very dorky. And we had these big red boxes and we stopped by and there's a big letter that says, I'm just trying to get my foot in the door. And these maintenance managers and facility people think it's freaking hilarious. And we just simply get in front of them, any excuse to have a face-to-face interaction with another human. And the other thing you have to remember is that old corporate marketing is boring as hell. And like most of you, I kid you not, I could take your websites right now and whatever you're talking to your computers about, your customers about, and I could rearrange the names and the phone numbers and it make no damn difference. You know, in business for 40 years, high quality painters. We treat you like family. I could go, there's like 15 things. Like it's all people say. And so you've got to say things a different way if you want to be heard, because you got to shake people out of their beta mode. Further, again, these guys are like sitting ducks in many of these organizations. I mean, there are organizations that have seriously taken 15, 20, 30, 50 prospects that spend hundreds of thousands of dollars a year and put them in a room. And all you got to do is go drive and physically be there, add them to your newsletter list, and then things will happen. And so the main thing I would say, the main thing about going after commercial work is you have to calendar 8 to 4 hours a week and either do it weekly or bi-weekly. I'm going to see 15 people before lunch or 10 people or whatever you can get on Thursdays from 8 to 12 o'clock. And if you just consistently get in front of those folks and then communicate with them in other methods consistently, you will get that work. I've never seen someone who did that not be successful, not once, not ever. Now, I've seen a bunch of people be lazy and not do any of it, in which case they weren't very successful. But if you just get in front of them, Logan, and if you got a decent sales process, I promise you, free painter for a day, doing diagnostics, anything you want to do. Really makes a huge difference. I mean, just getting in front of them but you got to be systematic about it. It's like going to the gym or going to church or anything else that you do with regularity that you think is important. If you do it with regularity, you will get the result.
So this is kind of an aside here, Brandon, but I want to mention it because of the red shoebox. So this was a letter. This was something I received, like a bright blue thing. And then it came with this. It's so cool. I saved it. I saved cool marketing. Came with this. It's a video letter, right? So these things.
Frank here with Fiscal. Just wanted to stop
And
by
this
and
guy
say hello.
is selling me. He created a little intro, just for me, couple like 30 seconds, 15 seconds. And then he kind of puts his hands up and now he's got this reel that he's created that he's going to send to everybody. And you can create things like this for property managers, for people like that, but it super stands out. The important part of doing stuff like that is what Brandon's saying is the follow-up. You don't send it and then like, oh, well, cool. I stood out. Yeah, that guy stood out. And then he sent me an email and he said, hey, I just want to make sure you got the shiny letter I sent. It's like, what shiny letter? And I went and found it, but his mistake is he hasn't followed up since. He hasn't called. He hasn't done anything. This guy should be on me until I'm on a call with him.
Exactly. So you got to follow up. You got to get, but even boring marketing consistently applied and directly
Consistent is more
works.
important. Much more
It's
important.
better that it be both, but I mean, just the consistency is critical. But I even have people that have hit a lick at it. Like I'll coach them and I can't get them to do it and I can't get them to do it. And then 1 month they do it and then they quit for 2 months. And then 1 month they do it and then they quit for 2 months. Well, 18 months later, they got $400,000 a year worth of commercial work. I'm telling you, very little effort produces big results in commercial because nobody else is marketing to them. You ask most of these guys that are sitting in a basement, their name's Earl, and they're by the boiler, and the only person that ever calls them complains. And when you show up, if you ask them, when's the last time a painter stopped by to see you? They will say never, because painters don't market. They stay at home and hope the phone rings in most cases. Other questions, moving on to other topics, other questions. Wave your hand at the screen or click the oldie yellow hand button, whichever you prefer. We've worn them down, Brandon. They're tired.
Beat
They're
him
dying.
down.
No
We
more
promised an
questions.
hour. We're still here, almost 90 minutes.
Here we go. All right, Angel, go ahead, sir.
Hi, I just had a quick question about, well, AI is the future of pretty much everything, but I was just wondering how Google, Facebook treat, the copy created through AI, such as ChatGPT.
That's a good
It's a great-
question.
Yeah, it's a great question. So you can create content through AI, but then you must know how to human edit it. You must. That's the part. So there have been multiple updates that have rolled out this year where sites that are doing really well just got annihilated. And so what you can't do is say, hey, I'm gonna just create tons and tons of content. I'm gonna create a machine, an unnaturally large amount of content. Can't do that. It has to be natural looking. You can use AI to assist you in the copy. At some point here, you'd be negligent not to, because like you said, everything's moving in that direction. You should use tech, but you have to go and you have to human edit it and you have to make it helpful. That's what Google cares the most about. They care that it's helpful, that people want to read it. If it's just a machine spitting out and you just think, well, I'll dominate because I'm going to have a website with 10,000 pages. And every single service and service area, every kind of keyword combination you could possibly want, I'm going to have a page for it. Google will annihilate you if you do that. So you have to be careful. You have to be paced and you have to know what you're doing.
Very good. Vin, are you the guy that came up with the diagram? I've often wanted to speak with you. Go ahead, Vin.
I come with what?
Vin,
The
go
Venn
ahead, sir. I
diagram, Venn diagram.
apologize.
Yeah.
It's
So,
my redneck humor in my voice. I'm sorry. Here we go.
So I have a question. My painters, I do the marketing for the painter contractors. So they're afraid to put a signs on the properties, but they have a vans staying next to the painting house. Would you suggest to add the signs on the yard anyway?
Yes. Yes. I'll tell you how enthusiastic I am about signs work. I mean, bandit signs even. Go get 100. They're so cheap. You go to cheapyardsigns.com. I just bought, I used to buy a bunch of yard signs in politics and recently, got involved in a few elections here around the primary in Tennessee. And you can get them $5, $6, $7. You buy 100 of them. You could stick them all over your county. Now, here's the thing. People often say, well, the HOAs don't allow it or my municipality won't allow it. People always look for the exceptions in order to form rules about how they run their company. And that's not what you do. You go do what is the best thing every time. And when there is an exception, you begrudgingly accept it. But here in Chattanooga, for example, if you put out yard signs and if you don't take them up, they give you a $50 fine. I didn't care. As I got so many leads off yard signs. So I get these solicitations in the mail for $50 and I just pay them. And if I put out 30 signs, I bet I get one solicitation. And so I made more money off the leads than I paid in the solicitation penalties. So yeah, I put those things out.
Can I push back on that?
Yeah, you can, but I'm going to disagree. But go ahead.
I mean, who's picking up all your trash all over the yard? I mean, like they do that in my town and it drives me insane. It's like, I know they're making
you're
money
not,
off
you're
it,
not
but
putting,
that's not a
you're
good
not
partner in
putting,
the community.
yeah, well, we just disagree, Mike. I look at the marketing results. I don't look at my feelings. When you go to the bank account, go to the bank and say, well, here's how I feel about something. It doesn't change the balance a damn lick, but the numbers do. And so that's what I always work for, is the numbers. And, there's 15,000 reasons not to be assertive and aggressive in marketing. I'm not saying you should, put them in people's yards that aren't asking for them or aren't clients. Obviously, you can't do that. But, the general thoroughfares, places like that, where they're already up, I'm just very recalcitrant. I'm like that. Maybe somebody that does roadside service will eventually get those up. Daniel, go ahead, buddy.
Yeah, no, on those yard signs, I just want to ask, are you doing like a different design, like something with just like painting and the phone number, or are you using your logo? If it's too small and they're driving by, they're not going to see it. So it kind of has to be catchy or something.
Yeah, and often, and it's crazy, a lot of these, they're so hard to read. A lot of these, what I would call blind lead generation signs, work very well. And that's just where you put, you'll see them, tree work and a phone number. People don't really care about your brand because they don't know what your brand is anyway. They don't know what your brand is. They have no idea. They just know that they need somebody to do it. Now, later they will do their research. Later they will look into things. But honestly, when you've got a plumbing leak and it's been going on for a while, and you see a sign that says plumbing and a phone number, you're just like, I've got a need. And so your job, often I'll give you an example. You're not a rainmaker as a painting contractor. You are a rain barrel, meaning that you cannot force someone to want to purchase your services. All you can really do is harness the organic demand of what is being asked for. That's all you can do. And if you put out a rain barrel and it rained yesterday, you don't get yesterday's rain. You can only catch the rain that comes in. And so, Dan, as long as the more places you can put messages in front of good audiences, the more likely you can get enough leads to sustain you. And so what I see most often is that painting contractors are not nearly as diversified or as assertive or aggressive in their marketing. And the other thing I see that they do is they put it in the wrong place, or either they stretch their marketing budget too thin over too broad of an audience. And so what you want to do is go a mile deep and an inch wide in highly lucrative markets. And you don't have to have a big budget to have a big brand. You don't.
If I can get one other quick question, I put on the chat, but I didn't see if I respond. It was just on a texting app, because you mentioned earlier about texting clients as one form of communication. My CRM will do one at a time using Twilio, but it won't send out a blast. Like, you can send out an email blast, but you can't send out a text blast. Is there another way to get around that?
Pierpont, what's your favorite mass text app? I've got a few that our memberships use and that I use, but what do you like?
I like ClickSend. I think we're going to do this.
ClickSend.
ClickSend, yeah.
Okay.
Text Magic, a lot of our guys have used, although they've become more difficult to work with. I use a Fix Your Funnel, which it connects to Infusionsoft. I mean, they've all got their quirks. So you just got to see which one works for you. Robert Collins, coming to you, buddy.
Hey there. Yeah, actually, so coming back to my question, I was asking you guys, right, about referral bonuses for clients. So we have a referral program for all of our clients. Anybody that has done work for us or sent us business, we send them a $50 gift card to a restaurant, and it's very labor intensive. I do it manually right now currently, and I'm wondering if you guys know of a service that we could punch in the client's information, because we'll already have their address, etc., where we could actually have a mail out or something there of the sort, where we prepay for it. And then after that, it's, it goes out to them just as a thank you for the referral.
So yeah, there are lots. I mean, if you just type in gift card mailing service, there'll be 1,000 of them on Google. So I mean, there's no shortage of them.
Okay.
But the thing I would say about that I push back on is twofold. Number one is people think a referral program is what happens after the referral comes in, which means if you didn't do anything to make the referral come in, like if you don't focus on the things that make the referral happen, but you only focus on the things that after the referral has happened, you will get much, much fewer referrals. It is the communication and the relationship that generates the referral. If you have good communication and good relationship and you never give them a single solitary spiff ever for any reason, you will get more referrals than if you gave them $100 per referral. But there's none of this communication and relationship. So the tchotchke or the gift is like of almost no importance. What is of importance is the communication and the consistency in the relationship. And the other thing I would say is this, not everything in your business is going to be automated. And a lot of things need to be highly personal, because if you've got somebody who sends you referrals and they're freaking sending you $10,000, $15,000, $100,000 a year worth of referrals, you better write a handwritten note, put them in your newsletter, go by and see them. And so I would just, if you don't do it, it's automated. If you don't do it, it's automated. So if you've got an assistant or somebody that can come in once a week and get that stuff done, hire an administrative assistant, put together a list of like tasks that recur on a repetitive basis, 8 hours, 16 hours a week, you can get that stuff done. But I'm a big fan in this space of being highly personal and professional, because the people that do that just make more money. So I would, the relationship part is important. The referral and what you give them is less important. And I would say, the more personal the gift can be, the better. The more endearing it is, the better.
Okay. Thank you. Thanks for your time.
I get those. I hate that crap every year around Christmas. All these vendors send me impersonal garbage, and I don't like a lot of clutter. And I usually just throw it right in the trash. Because I'd rather just have a note, right? And a lot of people don't need a bunch of stuff. And so what they really want is to be appreciated for the business or what they send you. Other questions? Other questions before we hop off here, guys? You've been very kind to hang in here this long.
It's a big group for how much overtime we've run.
Yeah. Well, we hit our limit. Like we told them 100 people because that's all we can have on Zoom, and it stayed at 99 for about an hour and 15 minutes. So that's pretty good. Anybody else? We got one last one. There's always a straggler. Ryan, go ahead.
I got one.
Oh, we got Balding's got one and Ryan's got one too. So as soon as you say we're leaving, that's when they ask the questions. Go ahead, Mike.
Hello, Michael.
Hey, what's up, Brandon? Got a question for you. I love the little secret stuff you're putting in on making video, like a long-term play. And we've actually gotten way more skilled at producing videos that are decent and not terrible. How do we, functionally, how does that work? We have a YouTube channel. You post the videos on YouTube, you embed them in your site. Like what are, just like the quick, like 30-second spiel on how to functionally do that?
Yeah, I mean, you just nailed it, right? So you create a channel, upload it to YouTube, you embed on the site through an iframe. So whatever you're using on it, I think you guys are on WordPress, so you create an iframe, put it on there, and then just and you link to the YouTube. And then you obviously put in like the correct alt tags and things like that for the video. Not to like go insane, but there's a video schema that you're gonna want to mark it up with video schema for the SEO on the page. So there's like a couple action items that you're gonna want to take. I would recommend pairing it with email marketing. So I would send out an email talking about the video and then drive people to the page, because that can tangentially improve your SEO. When you release a new video, put on a page and then drive traffic to it, because it's a signal to Google like, oh, people are going to this page watching this video. It's not like a direct ranking factor, but it's an indirect ranking factor that helps.
And one other thing you might consider doing, Mike, well, there's two other things I would recommend. Number one is when y'all are making videos, make sure that the title of your YouTube video is actually something someone will search for when they're trying to buy. So for example, if you're painting cabinets and you do a time-lapse video of somebody painting cabinets, you don't need to put, we had a great time painting Mrs. Smith's cabinets, because nobody's ever going to look for that. What you want to put is cabinet painting Chattanooga, Tennessee. And when somebody looks for cabinet painting Chattanooga, Tennessee, and then you put it on your blog for that same search term. And then I would also recommend that you can either get the video transcribed. I think Google provides a transcription, and to use that as copy underneath the video, you may have to format it a little bit. And if you speak redneck like I do, you may have to edit it quite a bit. But if you speak the King's English, it'll mainly come out just fine.
You can have AI edit that. If you actually go to the Painter Marketing Pros website, you click into our podcast, we transcribe. I don't really bother editing it much because we hide it, but you can also hide it where someone has to click like the read more, and it opens it all up, and we just have like a god awful amount of content because it will transcribe the podcast. But yeah, then it's Google's reading it. Their bots are reading all that stuff.
Yep, certainly. Okay, Ryan, you got to unmute yourself.
Okay. Thank you, guys. I enjoyed it today. My question is with postcard mailing to residential, have you ever heard any science behind what day, what week, what month? And I know like the month would depend on probably on the part of the country you're in, but like, is there a day where I could expect to get better results than another day? I've never heard anybody say.
Well, now I have read studies about business B2B mail, like when people process things. It's been the same since the beginning of time. It's almost like the middle of the week. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday is always better than Monday, Friday. A lot of times in political mail, when you do political mail, you hitting the mailbox, which you can barely damn do anymore. I'm just telling. Here's the other thing: give up. The post is so slow right now. It's the slowest it's been in American history. Crap it's just the postal service is a wreck. And it ain't even matter if you red tag it, which you don't know what is, and nor do you need to know, but his stuff does not get there on time. But it used to be that you'd mail stuff on, for it to land on Saturdays because people had more discretionary time over the weekend to read it. But I don't think it matters much anymore. It's far more. So there's four things that matter, right? There's the market, who you go after. There's the message, what you say. There's the medium, and that's the way you say what you say it through. And then there's the timing. And everybody gets all caught up with the timing and the medium, and they never think anything about the message that resonates or the people they're going after. And that's the first two stops. And so what I would, a more important thing is, who do you target? And affluent people in highly compact neighborhoods that are old. Those are the folks you go after, and to sit on them. If you've got a limited budget and you can only mail so much or do any type of marketing, pick 3 high-end neighborhoods that have 2,500 people in them and freaking live with them until they buy or until they die. And if they die, you market to the person that moves in the house next, right? And you just keep after them and you sit on them, and you will start seeing results. It's when people try to, hit a lick all over the place and they don't pick a market and stick with them that they don't get a good ROI. So that's what I'd say about that.
Can you give an example of what you believe a good message is?
Well, here's a few just based upon research, and these are headlines, right? I can't, speak an entire sales letter, but like background checked painters you can trust. Area's strongest 5-year ironclad workmanship guarantee. Here's another one. What your 7 neighbors are saying about ABC painting and make it all social proof. I mean, things like that are a little different. It doesn't need to say interior painting, exterior painting, pressure washing, cabinet staining, in business for 30 years, BBB certified, like all the crap you see that is so redundant. But yeah, just messages that talk about the things that they care about. Clean, courteous painters you can trust, because we know what they care about, but we so often fail to say it. Other questions? Other questions?
Thank you.
Going once, going twice. We are adjourned. We are adjourned. This meeting is over. Guys, thank y'all for coming. I appreciate you very much. If you have any questions after this, if you'll email Brandon@paintersacademy.com, I will reply back with a voice note, or you can email Brandon at paintermarketingpros.com, and he will reply with AI.
I will reply with an email or
he will reply with AI. It's not even going to be him. It's a
Okay.
robot. Nobody. No, I'm just joking. He's not going to do that. It hurt his rankings. But nonetheless, if you reply, send that, and you can call us 423-800-0520. We will answer our phones and get back to you. We are humans that just work with painting contractors. And so, guys, I appreciate you. Until next time, it's Brandon and Brandon signing off. We'll see you next time.
Squared.
Brandon squared.
That's right. Thanks, everyone.
See you guys.